Antony Gormley nació en Londres en 1950. Ha creado algunas de las obras más ambiciosas e icónicas de la escultura británica contemporánea. Su trabajo ha sido expuesto ampliamente en galerías internacionales.
Sorry, this always happens. Normal. ¿Better? Hello? Bueno? Ah, bueno, okay. So, I don't know if you know, but I have an exhibition here. And maybe you have a right to know in the next hour together. Is that okay? All right. And I'll talk for about 40 minutes and try to show you some stuff. And if you don't like it, you can leave. Or if you don't like what I say, you can say, hey, what? What do you mean? Yeah? It's important. Because artists are you should never believe an artist, basically. Look at the work, but don't believe what they say. So, I thought we should start with me. That's me, but this is me in iron. So, I kind of decided very early on that I wanted to deal with real things. I wanted to deal with what do we mean by reality? What are the things we can be certain of? Very little. You can be certain that you are alive, you can hear your heart beating, you know that you're breathing, you know you are, in a way, consciousness in a body. And that's what I wanted to start with, because there's some fundamental problem with many of you no doubt are at art school or have studied art or have studied the history of art. And I was inspired always by art. But the last chapter of art, the great story of modernism, for me there was something missing. Mondrian wanted to make an art that would be everybody's, that would speak to people irrespective of race, language, faith. And what happens to Mondrian? In a way, he becomes institutionalized. And I don't know whether Mondrian matters to anybody anymore. So that story of the 20th century, which is the story of art liberating itself from that need to illustrate collective myths, illustrate, in a way, reality as power, as patronage, as, in a way, the shared belief system, either political or religious. And that's what happened, between all these isms, between Impressionism and Conceptualism, you have all of these isms. And that history of the 20th woman and child. So, I went to the body because this is a common, this is a basic, I can say it was my reality, yours. We all are living inside a body. So how do we reinvent the body after modernism that isn't just a kind of continuation of the history from Michelangelo to Bernini? We have to start with his idea of the found object, but we recreate it as the lost subject. The lost subject that was lost because of modernist formalism. Art, in trying to discover the roots of its own syntax, and Greenberg was the last of these, begins to essentialize its production to the point where a painting is a surface covered in a color that is only active in the space between that skin of the canvas and the skin of the viewer. This reductivism, I think, in the end has left art as a form of rather redundant specialization. And art can no longer take its place in the street. Well, I'm very interested in the street. I'm very interested in how we live now. I'm very interested in art as a basic human right and a basic human expression. Art is the way that we express being alive. So why did I go to the body? I went to the body because it was, in a way, where we all live, because it was the basis for all, in a way, human impressions of the world, and maybe it could be an instrument for everything that you might wish to communicate. But how to do it in a way without just following the next step beyond Roma. I decided that in a way I had to start with real time, real space, and a real event. So I started saying, okay, this is what I've been given. This is the closest material that I'm ever going to have with the world. So why don't I use this, as it were, and work on it from the inside? Why don't I use my own existence to change my existence? Why don't I use my own body as primal material, as instrument, as subject? And maybe we find something else that is, in a way, from another tradition. We could say that, now in a time of globalization, we're aware of the parallel traditions of different cultures. I'm very aware here in Mexico of, in a way, the whole Mesoamerican cultural tradition from the Mayas through to the Aztecs. How do we maybe re-evaluate our own cultural conditioning, our own understanding of the development of Western art with this realization? There was a wonderful exhibition called Magicien de la Terre in 1989 in La Villette in Paris, which for the first time failed to distinguish between contemporary conceptual artists and shamans and the Walbiri and the Bororo and people who had been working with art as an integral part of their lives, in terms of the songs they sung, the way they painted their bodies, the stories they told, the houses they built.